Hello, everybody. Lucas Haneman here. Happy holidays to everybody. I hope you guys are having a great holiday season, whatever it is that you celebrate. Today's episode is all about textural guitar playing. I wanted to talk about this because it's something that's really been a big part of my life for a long time. Whenever I go to record an album with my band, the Lucas Haneman Express, there's always extra guitar parts in there that aren't necessarily the main part, and they can really make the song quite often. And even long before I was playing in my own project, I played on other people's albums, and playing textural guitar parts sometimes is just what the song needs. Maybe it's full of other instruments already. That particular track is one that I recorded. I started by recording drums back here on my drum kit. And then I recorded some acoustic guitar and some bass. And so I kind of thought, well, let's create a musical bed for some textures. And what I tried to do was employ 3 different textures. So today's episode is going to be titled something to the effect of, 3 great ways to get guitar textures, or maybe the 3 ways that you can apply textures in your guitar playing, something to that effect. So what did I start by doing? Well, I started by playing volume swells. Volume swells, whether you do them with your guitar, like the volume knob on your guitar, or with a volume pedal, it's a very effective way to get the guitar to sound much more like a synth or a pad, to get a different kind of effect. So let's just get some volume going on here. And I'm going to turn off that Leslie effect. We'll get to that one later. So yeah, just to show this volume swell thing, it's something I've always loved. Here we go. Now, what I'm using right now is I'm using a Strymon Flint to get that very excessive reverb. Like if I played it without the volume pedal, it's a very long reverb tail. You don't have to go that crazy, and you can do it with your amplifier too, just by turning up the reverb. But I really like this really, really long kind of reverby effect, especially when it's paired with volume swells. It can be a really nice texture sometimes. And again, just like everything else, it's not to be overused, but it works really, really well, whether you're playing down lower on the neck or if you're playing smaller chord voicings up higher in the neck. I particularly like it when you're using kind of small triad type of voicings, meaning 3 notes at a time. Really nice for those kinds of sounds. So it's a very beautiful sound that I've used for a long time, and it's a little trick that I like. So that can be something that's really fun to explore, whether you're, thinking about playing on someone's album, or even if you're just playing at home by yourself. It's a really fun thing to, even create a loop with a rhythmic backing track and then play over top of that, or look for a backing track online and play over top of that. So let's talk about technique number 2. This is what I will dub the edge. So this is a delay where you're trying to kind of play rhythmic things with those triad type shapes, those small chord voicings, but higher up on the neck. So right now I've got this kind of triplet delay. something that the Edge was well known for using, or I should say is. It's an amazing effect, and it really reminds me of those old U2 records like Joshua Tree, that kind of thing. I love these types of sounds regardless of who uses them, you know. And if I go for just a regular delay, it still sounds very cool. Right? Very cool effect. Not quite as dramatic, but it's very, very cool. And I also love delay when it's played, with more kind of open type chords, bigger chord voicings. It can be really nice. I'm going to go back to that triplet delay here. And I'll just play down here, lower on the neck. I'm going to turn up the delay so you hear it even more. So here we go. Sounds beautiful, right? Really nice textures using that, that technique. One of my favorite guitar players is this Canadian guy named Kevin Breit, and he's from Toronto, and he plays a Telecaster. I chose the Tele because I was thinking about him when I created this episode. He's an amazing player who's played on probably thousands of records. It's amazing. He has played with Norah Jones. He's played with Hugh Laurie, so many other great artists. He's played with Katie Lang, and played on some of the seminal albums by these artists. And whenever I hear him play a Tele, and kind of play these textural parts, it's just, he always plays what you don't expect to hear. But man, it sounds really, really good. I also love Daniel Lenois, and he's a proponent of this kind of sound. If I turned on some overdrive, you kind of get into that Daniel Lenois territory, especially, shaking the neck a little bit. Really cool. It gets into that atmospheric type territory where it's really, really, really nice. And finally, the final technique that I showed you guys was something that another one of my favorite guitar players, Tim Reynolds, who plays with Dave Matthews now, uses. And it's using this like Leslie type effect. I'm using a Strymon Lex for this. By the way, the delay pedal is a TC Electronics flashback delay pedal. But this is my Strymon Lex, which my lovely wife gifted to me a few years ago. And I really, really like this for kind of more percussive type playing when you're playing single note lines, much like how we used the delay earlier. You kind of get that world music type feel, or that kind of Afro-Cuban type thing, which I really, really love as well. And if I slow it down, you get more of a chorus type effect, so it sounds more like those guitar players on those Michael Jackson records from the 80s, or anyone like that. Peter Gabriel. Let's just combine them all together just for fun. How about that? And by the way, for the duration of this video, I've been playing 4 chords: C major, F major, G major, and A minor in various permutations. So yeah, I mean, honestly, a big part of playing texturally is learning your chord inversions around the neck. And I find that really, really helps a lot. So, you know, things like this, like moving up a scale and being able to harmonize your chords. Pretty much 3-string groups work really, really well. So, like, you know, especially on the top 4 strings or so of the guitar. So I'm just playing little chord inversions here in the key of C major, and that's something that you guys could look up online. You know, it really helps a lot to know your way around little chord voicings in terms of playing texturally. And the other two things, the other thing I should say is kind of 2 sides of a coin. It's like playing either very staccato, like that, where your guitar is more of a percussion instrument, or playing very wide open, where you're not touching the strings at all with your right hand. And then maybe doing some of this neck bendy stuff. Bigger chord voicings, lower on the neck for that style of playing often. So I hope that helps you guys out, just to kind of scratch the surface a little bit when it comes to textural guitar playing. I want you guys to let me know what are your favorite records that contain textural guitar parts, and what kind of techniques do you like to employ when it comes to textural guitar playing. If you've been watching, please do like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell, and we will see everybody again next Tuesday. Happy holidays, guys.